Today, we're busting the 5 biggest myths about Adderall and ADHD that you've probably believed all of your life, or been reading about on X, formerly known as Twitter. Wow, that rebranding really hasn't worked out for them, eh? Anyways, have you ever wondered if Adderall is really a brain-boosting wonder drug or just overhyped caffeine? What if I told you the truth is far more surprising? We're not just scratching the surface, we're diving deep into the muck of myths. By the end of this video, you'll be able to separate fact from fiction, which could change how you view this medication and ADHD. Adderall and ADHD have been the subject of controversy and fascination for years, surrounded by a cloud of rumors, half-truths, and Hollywood hyperbole, and Twitter know-it-alls. And you know what? The deeper we go, the more shocking the revelations we uncover. So stick with me, because every second of this journey will flip what you thought you knew on its head. And who am I to navigate this myriad of misinformation? My name is Dr. Sulman Aziz Mirza, triple board certified in adult psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and addiction medicine. And trust me, I've heard it all, from Adderall turned my life around to isn't that just legal speed? Let's just say if I had a pill for every myth I've busted, I'd have, well, a lot more Adderall than CVS does nowadays. Let's dive into our first myth. Adderall is a magic pill for focus and productivity. Now, why do so many people believe this? Picture this, you're watching a movie, let's say 2011's Limitless starring Bradley Cooper, and there's this character struggling to keep up with life's demands. They pop some experimental pill, and suddenly they're acing tests, climbing career ladders, juggling life like a pro. Sounds familiar, right? That's the media portrayal that's been etched into our minds. But here's where the plot thickens. You see, Adderall does work in the brain, but not like some miracle wand. It increases neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, which help with attention and focus. But does that mean it's a magic pill for everyone? Far from it. Here's the twist. While Adderall can be a game changer for those with ADHD, helping them level the playing field, for others it's a whole different story. Without ADHD, Adderall's effects can lead to a host of unwanted side effects, like anxiety and panic attacks, insomnia, loss of appetite, and even psychosis. So, what's the real story with Adderall? Adderall is specifically designed as part of a comprehensive treatment plan for ADHD. It's not a one-pill-fits-all solution. For those with ADHD, it's a valuable tool in a larger toolkit that includes therapy, lifestyle changes, and sometimes other medications. Let's go on to myth number 2. Taking Adderall will make anyone smarter. It's something that we hear all the time, especially amongst critics of ADHD and stimulant medication. We hear the stories of students across high schools and college campuses cramming and pulling all-nighters during finals week, fueled by Adderall and energy drinks. And guess what? For some of those students, they pass and get good grades, and because they have good grades, they must be very smart, right? And because grades equals intelligence, right? Not so fast. The research tells a different story. Studies have shown that in healthy individuals, Adderall doesn't lead to significant cognitive improvement. In fact, it's not about boosting intelligence at all. Adderall helps those with ADHD by improving their focus and attention. And while grades might improve with better focus, this does not equate to increased intelligence. It's like saying wearing running shoes makes you a faster runner. It helps, but it doesn't change your innate ability. So, what's the real deal with Adderall and smarts? It comes down to this. Adderall aids in attention in those with ADHD, but it doesn't enhance the cognitive abilities of healthy individuals. It's not a smart pill. It's a medication for a specific condition. Now, let's tackle myth number 3. If Adderall helps you focus, you must have ADHD. It's a logical assumption, right? After all, if a medication designed for a particular condition works for you, it's easy to think that you might have that condition. But here's where we need to pause and look closer. The truth is, stimulants like Adderall do have a universal focusing effect that's not exclusive to individuals with ADHD. They increase alertness and attention in just about everyone. So, does that mean everyone who feels more focused after taking Adderall has ADHD? Absolutely not. Diagnosing ADHD isn't as straightforward as seeing who responds to a medication. ADHD is a complex neurodevelopmental disorder with a wide range of symptoms, and it requires a thorough evaluation by a professional. The fact that Adderall helps someone focus doesn't automatically mean they have ADHD. It's not a diagnostic tool, but part of a larger assessment and treatment process. We aren't trying to discount experiences with medication that people may have had prior to being assessed, but just being aware that it's not as simple as a take it and let's see approach. Myth number 4 is really interesting. Adderall is just like coffee. It's a myth that's been brewing for much longer than the few minutes it should take, especially in today's instant coffee culture. And it seems pretty straightforward at first glance. Both are stimulants, right? So they must have the same effect. Well, not quite. When we dive into the science, the differences become clear. Caffeine, the stimulant in coffee, works by blocking adenosine receptors, which makes you feel more awake. Adderall, on the other hand, increases the levels of neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine in the brain. This doesn't just wake you up, it enhances focus and attention, particularly in those with ADHD. While a cup of coffee can perk you up, Adderall's effects are far more potent and targeted. And with that power comes greater responsibility and risk. Prescription stimulants carry many more potential side effects and risks that you won't normally find in your morning latte. And similar to our last myth, while you may respond well to and tolerate caffeine without any issues, it doesn't guarantee that you'll respond well to and tolerate a stimulant medication. And while they are different, it doesn't mean that you are totally safe with combining these two either. They are both stimulants at the end of the day, and that double action can lead to all kinds of synergistic adverse effects, like anxiety, jitters, panic attacks, insomnia, heart palpitations, and more. It's one time you definitely don't want to be coming together like Voltron. So, what's the bottom line? Comparing Adderall to coffee is like comparing a motorcycle to a bicycle. Both can get you moving, but the risks, effects, and purposes are vastly different. As we reach our final myth, it's one that's particularly rooted in conspiracy and misinformation. Adderall and ADHD were made up by Big Pharma. This myth taps into a deep well of skepticism about pharmaceutical companies and misunderstandings about ADHD's history. So, why does this myth persist? It starts with a narrative that's all too common. The idea that conditions like ADHD are concocted by corporations for profit. But let's see what history and science tell us. Looking back, references to ADHD-like symptoms have been documented for over a century, long before modern pharmaceutical companies were as influential as they are today. These historical accounts describe children and adults with strikingly similar symptoms to what we now recognize as ADHD. But here's where the plot thickens. Despite this rich history, doubts linger. The role of pharmaceutical companies in developing treatments, like Adderall, can't be ignored. Yes, they have a vested interest in the medication's success, but does that mean that ADHD is just a fabrication? The overwhelming consensus in the medical community says absolutely not. Decades of research, clinical observations, and advancements in neuroscience all support ADHD as a legitimate medical condition. It's not a product of fiction. It's a complex neurodevelopmental disorder that affects millions. I made a whole video and series tackling the ADHD's fake narrative, so make sure to check it out via the card above. As we come to the close of our myth-busting journey today, it's clear that the world of ADHD and its treatment is layered with complexities and, unfortunately, misconceptions. But there's a silver lining to unraveling these myths: the opportunity to learn the real science and research behind them. Every myth we've debunked today sheds light on the importance of understanding ADHD beyond the headlines and the rumors. It's about looking at the hard facts, the clinical outcomes, and the real experiences of those living with this condition. When we do this, we're not just correcting false information, we're opening doors to better understanding and empathy. Remember, knowledge is a powerful tool in our quest to support mental health. By challenging myths and misinformation, we pave the way for more informed conversations, better healthcare decisions, and a more supportive environment for everyone affected by ADHD. So let's continue this journey of learning and discovery. Let's keep questioning, keep researching, and keep sharing the truths we uncover. Together, we can break down the barriers of misinformation and build a foundation of understanding and support. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of ADHD myths. If you found this video helpful, please drop your comments below, give it a like, and share with your friends and family to help dispel these myths and spread accurate information. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that dives deep into the fascinating world of ADHD and medications, as well as other mental health stuff. Till next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay healthy and be well.